So, Scott, when you look at where we were a year ago, and we weren't taking this show on the road in Canada because of what was happening in the marketplace, how different is it right now with these 5 Canadian teams challenging?
There's excitement all across the country. You know, I was in Edmonton the last time they went to the finals. I've been to the Sea of Red in Calgary. Certainly been to my share of playoff games in Montreal. But I've never seen the enthusiasm the way it is for the Leafs in this city, not since 92, 93.
Yeah.
And I think it's a different type of enthusiasm because people are looking at a bunch of players that are going to be here for 7, 8 years in some cases, people that they can cheer for the long term, and they're playing exciting hockey. And knock on whatever wood we've got on the set.
I think I was waiting for that. That's inevitable.
That they hang on, and we've got 5 Canadian teams in the playoffs.
Now, you pay great salaries to people to forecast what's going to happen in sports and do budgets and all that kind of thing. And without getting too far deep into this, fans will be fans, and they wear their sweaters, and they're very excited about their team. But as a corporation trying to do the money side of things, does this exceed expectations from where you were a year ago, looking forward to the draft lottery instead of the playoffs?
Yeah, it certainly exceeds our expectations to have potentially these 5 Canadian teams. It'd be great to have 6 or 7, maybe one day down the road. But, you know, there's a huge fan base for the Montreal Canadiens all across the country. There's a huge fan base for the Toronto Maple Leafs all the way across the country. And when you've got players like Connor McDavid in Edmonton, who, you know, that's the future of the league right there, between Connor, Austin Matthews, Johnny Gaudreau in Calgary. I think there's a real excitement about what they're going to see starting on April 12th. Wednesday, April 12th. Circle that night on your calendar because that's the start of the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Let me ask you about scheduling. I can remember one specific day when you and I were at CBC, Scott, walking down the hallway, and Terry Ludwig's store was a fraction open. And so I pushed it open to see Terry. He had the big board, and he looked like he hadn't slept in days. He looked frazzled. There was a bunch of coffee cups all around. He'd been up for days trying to figure out the schedule. And he tried to explain it to me, the challenges that he was going through trying to piece together the playoffs. I know we're not there yet, but what challenges do you have so far?
Well, we look at it literally every day, and fans wouldn't have any idea of all the different balls that are in the air. You know, you've got ourselves and CBC figuring out which games we want to do. You've got NBC in the States worrying about which games they want to do. And then you've got wild cards, like our current wild card is the Dixie Chicks.
Excuse me?
The Dixie Chicks. The Dixie Chicks are booked. They're booked into the Canadian Tire Centre in Ottawa, and they're booked into the Bell Centre in Montreal, and they're doing a rehearsal on Thursday night, the first Thursday night in Ottawa. Like, don't they know the words to their own songs? So their rehearsal will mean that if everything goes the way it is as of this morning, there'd be 5 games on the opening Wednesday night, which would include Toronto, Ottawa, Montreal, and Edmonton. So it's a great night for hockey fans, and it means 2 Eastern time games, again, if things hold the way they are now, including Toronto, Ottawa, and Montreal all going up against each other.
Those will be some deep dents in couches across the country if it lines up like that.
10 years ago, it was Yanni. That was the group that was killing it. I remember in the playoffs, so maybe
it's not
we've
technically
improved.
a group.
Let's just say, is Yanni just one person?
The individual artist called Yanni. Hey, you know, you bring up what about the Maple Leafs, and going back our era, 92, 93, I mean, that was the Doug Gilmour trade, the Dave Andreychuk trade. We saw.
Hold on.
Wait, no, hold on. No, I'm just talking.
You're trying to. He called you a grandpa earlier because you wrote
okay.
stories, and now you're trying to lump him into the same era.
I'm much younger.
Yeah, I just laid a story or two on, and the grandpa remembers from the Scott Moore days, so whatever. So I know when I walk out the door, I've got something to come back with. So Wendell Clark, Todd Gill were there, okay, of the guys. I think what's great is, as you mentioned, all the young guys. Austin Matthews, record for rookie goals. Mitch Marner, record for rookie assists. William Nylander, record for consecutive points. Hyman, record for shorthanded goals by a rookie. And it goes on and on and on. And I think that's the exciting part compared to then when it caught people by surprise, that I think now, kind of like the Jays, there's been a wave of these great young guys. So this is hopefully the first of many years that you're up here talking about a playoff schedule that includes the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Well, you got to give Brendan a lot of credit, and I've done that a number of times in interviews that I've done. He had a plan, and one of the first things he said to me a couple of years ago was, we want to have players that the fans can invest in, that they'll buy their jerseys to put their names on the back of the jerseys. And you're seeing that not only in Toronto, but you're seeing it in Calgary, Edmonton, and soon to be Vancouver as well, I think.
And Winnipeg with Laine?
Winnipeg with Laine. You know, you got to think they, of all the places in Canada, are a little bit of a disappointment. Thought they'd be in the playoffs with that young team. And I was in Winnipeg 2 years ago when they were there. It usurped the Bell
first
Center.
playoff game, right?
First playoff game in Winnipeg. It's a better place to watch a playoff game than Montreal or Chicago. It was crazy there.
Most creative fans in the NHL.
With a chance.
The chant. There's no one better in the NHL.
They target somebody and they go after them. Just on the subject of the players and finding. So we've got a fan with a Maple Leaf sweater on. Do you have a number? No. So
she's unlisted.
Whose number?
She's available.
Whose number do you
available.
put on there? Who's your favorite player now? Austin Matthews.
Austin Matthews.
We'll make that. Gordon will get you a signed Austin Matthews sweater.
Any Mitch Marner fans? Mitch Marner fans?
Marner, we got some Marner.
Fans.
Here's what I'm curious about. Any Connor McDavid jerseys around? Because last night, so Doug and I were doing the Edmonton Oilers San Jose Sharks game, and there was one shot coming back from commercial, crowd shot, and we went back and looked at it, and every single person in the shots all had an identical jersey on it and all had number 97 on it. And it was all Connor McDavid. And I can remember, Scott, and Connor's last year in the OHL with Erie. I mean, we turned our junior hockey package upside down to follow McDavid. It's the right decision. He's the huge story. As much as, we'll talk about Mitch Marner and Austin Matthews and Nylander and everything that involves the Maple Leafs, I can't help but thinking that maybe the biggest story heading into the playoffs isn't the Toronto kids, but it's the Edmonton kid. 97 to see what we always talk about, players taking it to the next level in the playoffs. If Connor McDavid has the next gear, that's terrifying.
Yeah, you saw that shorthanded goal he had the other night.
Backhand, too.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And not just Connor. I mean, you've got some great young talent in Calgary with Tkachuk and Gaudreau. I mean, those guys are exciting.
Tkachuk's outstanding.
Can you imagine?
Tkachuk's outstanding.
Trust me, I'm happy if we get 5 Canadian teams in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But there are possibilities for Battle of Edmonton, Toronto-Montreal matchups.
Yep.
If not this year, you're almost guaranteed you're going to get them somewhere in the next few years. So, hey, you guys have more important things to do than talk to me. I just wanted to make a plug for the folks out here in Brampton who started the Sportsnet Café, which looks fabulous. And my plug is if you're watching our real estate division, we want a Sportsnet Cafe downtown by our
at OMP.
Yeah, absolutely.
Please.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
amen.
And we want actual beer taps here at the Sportsnet Cafe. Am I right?
And people love it because they get the free lunch hour. Like, hey, they're doing a broadcast. We got to go out there.
Yeah.
Safe travels. We know
Okay,
you're,
thanks,
you're
guys. Off to
traveling.
Montreal to see the Jays tonight. So
Thanks, man.
Nice.
have a good
See
show,
you,
guys.
Scott.
Oh, yeah, big weekend.
Big
Jays,
weekend.
And then Jays home opener.
Hey, see
or
Tim
season
Ra-
opener.
Tim Raines
Tim
got the
Raines last
ovation he got
night.
last
Isn't that
night.
great?
That was
Okay.
really
And they're
great.
honoring him tonight before the game.
It's awesome.
At 6:30 at the Big O. So.
And take the headset with you.
Can I?
Parting gift.
It's a parting gift. Thank you very much.
There's Scott Moore, president of Sportsnet.
Thanks, guys.